Yellow, red, and blue are the primary colors. These are the three colors that can be used to mix all the other colors on the color wheel. Secondary colors are mixed from the primary colors. When you mix two primary colors together, you get a secondary color. Orange is made from red and yellow. Purple or violet is mixed from red and blue. And green is mixed from yellow and blue. Intermediate or tertiary colors are made when you mix together a secondary and a primary color. Yellow-orange is made when you mix orange and yellow together. Same for yellow-green, blue-green, blue-violet, red-violet, and red-orange. The name tells you what two colors are used to make it. Pause the screen and use one of your papers to copy my paper, make it look like mine, and in just a moment we will create 4 different color schemes that we will use in this project. The first color scheme we're going to make is a monochromatic color scheme, which uses only one color. I chose purple. To create this color scheme, or to practice creating this color scheme, you may use a crayon or a pencil, crayon or a colored pencil, and color a dark, medium, medium light, and light box. So it should go from dark to light in your boxes. The next color scheme is complementary. These are opposites on the color wheel. For example, if you draw a straight line across the color wheel, purple and yellow are opposites, so that is a pair of complementary colors. If you chose purple as your monochromatic color, you need to use that same first color to pick your next color, so purple, and then the complement of purple is yellow. If you chose blue as your monochromatic color scheme, you need to start with blue for your complement, and the opposite is orange. If your first color was green, the complement of green is red, and vice versa. So again, our complement pairs are purple and yellow, orange and blue, red and green, and if you chose a tertiary color, it would be red-violet and yellow-green, blue-green and red-orange, and yellow-orange and blue-violet. So you only need 2 colors for this color scheme. The next is an analogous color scheme. These are colors that are neighbors on the color wheel. Again, start with your first color as your first one. And so I chose purple, and I chose to make the colors that go this way on the color wheel. These 4 colors here. These touch together and are neighbors on the color wheel. So I use blue, violet, violet, red, violet, and red as my analogous color scheme. This color scheme can have 3 or 4 colors. It is your choice. If your color was yellow, you could pick a section like this on the color wheel around here. If you had orange in your color scheme to begin with, your analogous color scheme could include ones that are next to orange. Any 3 or 4 colors that touch your first color. And our last color scheme is a triadic color scheme, which is 3 colors that make a triangle on the color wheel. So again, because I chose purple as my first color, I'm going to use that one in all of them. And mine is purple, green, and orange. Our secondary colors. Notice that purple, orange, and green make a triangle, the 3 points of a triangle on the color wheel. If you had any of the red, yellow, or blue colors in your first color scheme, that is another triadic color scheme, yellow, red, and blue. Another example would include yellow, orange, red, violet, and blue, green. And your last example would include red, orange, yellow, green, and blue, violet. When you're finished making your color scheme, remember that the first color needs to be included in all 4 color schemes. Please upload a picture of your color scheme in your progress image upload. Make sure that you have completed your color scheme before moving on to the drawing stage of this assignment. Today, we are going to be using some mask designs from different cultures to inspire us to make 4 different mask drawings. You will be making 4 drawings. You have the option of making 4 different designs, or you may repeat the same design 4 different times using your 4 different color schemes. So again, you may use one design drawn 4 times on 4 separate pieces of paper, or you may create 4 different designs, each one with its own color scheme. The first example of masks that we have are actually facial tattoos used by the Maori culture in New Zealand. These are native people in New Zealand, and the men in this culture wear a facial tattoo that is reminiscent of the personality or the character of the person. These South American examples may have been used in religious types of ceremonies. And we have African designs of masks over here, which also could have been used to represent different gods or religious beliefs that they had in different cultural ceremonies that they took part in. Down here, these 3 are Japanese-inspired mask designs, including masks that would have been used to intimidate and be worn during a wartime with your sets of armor. And here is a stylized, more contemporary stylized drawing of an oni, which is a Japanese demon. So again, something that would have been intimidating. We are going to use these images today to help inspire us to make our own designs. We do not want to copy any one of these examples, but use them and borrow ideas and use them to inspire us to create our own unique images. You may pick one that you think you like and start from there, so don't worry if it does not turn out similar to what you see, because remember, it's not supposed to be copied. Here are 2 of the examples that I created for this assignment. Notice a few things that you should have in your drawing. 1, my mask is symmetrical. Both sides of the design are basically the same on the right and the left. Also, I have repeated similar designs like vertical lines and curved elements in this one, and repeated the element of this eye multiple times with these lines here, these diagonal lines that are going to create my rhythm here in this design. So it does not have to be unrealistic like here. It doesn't have to be just a random design. The rhythm lines could go with the design of your mask. And I've also created a unique shape for the outside edge of my mask so that it looks more like a mask and not like a portrait. I would encourage you to draw starting with the eyes, nose, and mouth first, Then move out to adding designs in the empty space of the mask. And then lastly, draw the edge of the mask, the outside edge, around your designs, which will help you to create a unique shape. I have chosen to make 4 different designs. Here's a finished example using my analogous color scheme, which included the blue, blue-violet, red, and red-violet. You may choose to paint these, or you may choose to use dry materials. You may use whatever you have available. There will be videos included in the assignment showing different techniques for blending your different materials, whichever one you decide to use. Pause the video here and use these images as inspiration to create your 4 separate drawings on 4 separate pieces of paper. When you're finished drawing your mask designs in pencil, please take a photo of all 4 in the same image and upload it to your second progress assignment. Once you have finished drawing all 4 mask designs in pencil, you may use watercolor first if you are using paint. If you have another material that you would like to use, go straight into that one. But if you're using watercolor, we want to use that one first. And we can start to add our different values. I'm going to do this example as my monochromatic color scheme, so I will only be using different purples. So I'm going to make a very light purple. I'm going to start with my lightest value first, because I can always build up more color later. That goes for color pencil or crayon, whatever material you're using. If you start lighter, you can always build up darker values where you want things to stand out. So a lighter value might be good to fill in a large space, and it's okay if I fill over multiple areas, because I can build up that color later on top of where I've already put it. Notice that I used different values of my same color to create my monochromatic color scheme. I chose to make the empty space of the mask very light, and the designs various medium and darker values, and the background has been painted darker to allow the lighter value of the mask to stand out. Notice that I skipped around on the page a little bit. Make sure that you let one area dry before trying to paint a different value next to it. otherwise it will blend together. You might not want that. If you are not using paint and you have colored pencil or marker, you would simply use your one colored pencil, in this case purple. On your screen it might look more blue, but I am using purple. And you would color different values like we did in our practice color scheme to create the darker and lighter areas. When this is dry, I can use my colored pencil or my marker and I can draw on top of my painting as well. If you were not successful in creating any thin lines or areas of smaller detail with your paint by using a light touch and only using the tip of your brush, if you were not able to do that, then you can go back in with your colored pencil or even a marker and re-outline things and help things stand out. You can add extra details that you may not have thought of before. Just make sure that they are mostly symmetrical, meaning they are the same on both sides. So I can come in here and redefine some things with my purple marker and really show a little bit more detail. When you draw in while it's still wet, you could do that. It's going to be a little bit more of a faded look. So if you want the marker line to be nice and bold, you're going to want to do it while it is fully dry. Otherwise it will bleed with the water. And you don't have to outline everything with the marker, maybe just selective areas. You decide where that is going to be. It is your artwork. So in this first one, we are using our one color to make our monochromatic color scheme in our first mask design, using our different light and dark values of one color. You will need to create one mask design for each of the 4 color schemes that you created previously. This first one is the monochromatic color scheme. We use different values of one color, purple, which on your screen might look more blue, but believe me, it's purple. And I've used washes of watercolor paint in combination with marker outlines and a little bit of colored pencil to show detail where it is difficult to get small detail with the paint. So anywhere where you want to show small detail, you'll want to use a colored pencil or a marker. The next design should have a complementary color scheme. Again, I've used only my purple and my yellow, which are my complementary colors. If you mix the two a little bit together, where in the eyes there was a tiny bit of purple that got mixed in with the yellow, and that dulls and darkens the color a little bit. So be careful mixing them together if you don't want them to be dull. We don't want that to happen everywhere. The marker, again, can be used to outline and put back detail inside of the paint, and a colored pencil can be used to layer and shade on top of the design to show more value changes. I've added some extra hatching lines in the background here to show a pattern and add some interest into the background. And I've used marker to fill in parts of my background, so I have different values of yellow and I have different values of purple with multiple different materials to make my complementary color scheme. The analogous color scheme, using my purples, blues, and reds, is mostly painted with black outlines. You can choose whether to use black outlines or not. Some of them might need it if you are painting it, or even if you're coloring it, especially that first monochromatic one might get a little hard to see. So one way to fix it would be to put black outlines on it if that is needed. Notice that I'm leaving some areas white, like the whites of the eyes and teeth. That will be acceptable for this assignment. And the last color scheme is your Triadic color scheme. For me, that was a secondary color scheme, which was purple, green, and orange. Again, I used washes of watercolor to fill in the large areas of space, and I went back on top with my markers and my colored pencil to add more hatching lines to show texture, and colored pencil to show some shading in different areas. Remember, anything that you do dark or with marker is going to stand out really well, and anything that is lighter is maybe not going to stand out, so that might be something that would be good for larger spaces. And I have nice contrast between my light orange face and my darker purple background happening here. So pay attention to where you put the colors, what you do with them, and be sure to include some previously used techniques like the hatching lines and our blending to add detail, texture, pattern. We want to always be combining our elements and principles of design to create our artwork in the best way we know how. When you photograph your work, please include a photo that shows all 4 of the designs in one picture. My camera is a little bit